Tuesday, June 12, 2018, 11:48 p.m., the Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. The faint clink of a wine glass being set down echoed through the house as Emma closed the front door behind her. The familiar scent of lavender candles lingered in the air, but tonight it felt wrong, too sweet, too intentional. "James? Mom?" Emma called out, setting her bag on the console table. The house was unnervingly quiet, save for the low hum of the central air. A single light was on in the living room, its warm glow spilling into the hallway. She paused, frowning at the two glasses on the coffee table, one with red lipstick on the rim, the other with a faint trace of bourbon. Her stomach tightened. Lauren didn't drink bourbon. "Hello?" She tried again, louder this time, as she made her way up the stairs. The faint creak of a floorboard overhead made her pause halfway up. Her heart began to race. "James?" No answer. She reached the landing, her heels clicking against the hardwood, and noticed the light seeping out from under the bedroom door. When Emma pushed the door open, it felt like time slowed to a crawl. James stood by the bed, shirtless, his hands fumbling with the button on his jeans. Lauren was beside him, sitting on the edge of the bed, her silk robe slipping scandalously off one shoulder. "Emma!" James blurted, his face a mask of shock and guilt. Lauren turned, her expression eerily calm despite the compromising situation. "Darling, this isn't what it looks like," she said, her tone far too composed. Emma's mind raced as she tried to make sense of the scene before her. The half-empty wine bottle on the nightstand, the faint flush on James's cheeks, the way Lauren's robe hung open just enough to reveal what should never have been exposed in her presence. "What the hell is going on?" Emma's voice trembled as she spoke, her eyes darting between them. "Emma, listen," James began, stepping toward her. "It's not what you think. Don't," she snapped, holding up a hand to stop him. Her voice was sharper than she expected, fueled by the betrayal clawing its way through her chest. Lauren stood, tying her robe with an air of detachment. "Sweetheart, you're overreacting," she said, her voice maddeningly smooth. Emma's laugh came out as a bitter bark. "Overreacting? I walk in on my mother and my husband, and I'm overreacting? Nothing happened," James protested. "Then why do you look like you just got caught cheating on your wife?" she fired back, her voice breaking. He opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. Lauren sighed, stepping between them. "Emma, I know this looks bad, but don't," Emma said, cutting her off. She took a step back, the pain in her chest morphing into something colder. "I don't want to hear it. Not from you." The room fell silent, save for the sound of Emma's ragged breathing. Without another word, she turned and stormed out, her heels clicking sharply against the floor as she made her way downstairs. Tuesday, June 12, 2018, 11:59 p.m. Beacon Hill, Boston. Emma's vision blurred with tears as she climbed into her car and slammed the door shut. She gripped the steering wheel tightly, her mind replaying the scene over and over like a sick loop. James's stammering excuses, Lauren's maddening calm. She couldn't stay. Not tonight. Her phone buzzed on the passenger seat, James's name flashing across the screen. She ignored it, throwing the car into reverse and pulling out of the driveway. By the time she reached her best friend Lily's house on Chestnut Street, it was past midnight. She sat in the driveway for a moment, staring at the glowing porch light as her chest heaved. When Lily opened the door, she didn't need to ask what was wrong. One look at Emma's tear-streaked face was enough. "Come inside," Lily said softly, pulling her friend into a hug. Wednesday, June 13th, 2018, 2:14 a.m. Lily's apartment, Chestnut Street, Boston. Hours later, Emma sat on Lily's couch with a glass of wine in her hand, though she hadn't taken a single sip. She stared blankly at the wall as Lily paced in front of her, trying to make sense of the story Emma had just told her. "Your mom?" Lily asked for the third time, her voice filled with disbelief. Emma nodded numbly. Lily stopped pacing and sank into the armchair across from her. "This is insane. I mean, we all knew Lauren was well, Lauren. But this?" Emma's grip tightened on the glass. I shouldn't have left. I should have stayed and made them explain. Explain what? Lily shot back. That they're terrible people? You already know that. Emma didn't respond. Wednesday, June 13th, 2018, 10:45 p.m. Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. The scandal didn't fully hit until the next night. Emma was lying on the couch at Lily's place, scrolling through her phone, when a video caught her attention. The caption read, "Scandal in Beacon Hill. Late-night lovers caught on camera?" Her stomach dropped as she clicked the link. The grainy footage, taken from a neighbor's security camera, showed James and Lauren walking arm in arm down the street. They stopped in front of the neighbor's house, talking and laughing. Then, to Emma's horror, Lauren leaned in and kissed him. Her heart raced as the video continued, showing them disappearing into the house together. The timestamp read, June 11th, 2018, 11:09 p.m. 2 nights ago, while Emma had been staying late at work, she dropped the phone, her hands shaking. "Emma?" Lily asked, walking into the room. Emma pointed to the phone, her voice barely above a whisper. "Everyone's seen it." Lily picked up the phone and watched the video, her jaw tightening as it played. "Oh my God," she muttered. Emma buried her face in her hands, the weight of the betrayal crashing down all over again. This wasn't just a private nightmare anymore. It was a public humiliation, and it was far from over. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 7:30 a.m. Lily's apartment, Chestnut Street, Boston. Emma woke to the sound of her phone buzzing on the nightstand. She groaned, shielding her eyes from the early morning light as she reached for it. The screen was filled with notifications, missed calls, unread texts, and a flood of new comments on the community video that had shattered what little dignity she had left. Her thumb hovered over a message from James before she deleted it without reading. "Another nightmare morning?" Lily asked, walking in with 2 mugs of coffee. Emma sighed, sitting up and running a hand through her tangled hair. "It doesn't feel real. None of it does. Like I'm watching someone else's life implode." "Well, the internet sure thinks it's real," Lily said, setting the mug on the nightstand. "That video is everywhere now. Even people outside of Beacon Hill are talking about it." Emma's stomach churned. "Great. Exactly what I needed." Lily perched on the edge of the bed, her expression cautious. "What's your plan? You can't hide here forever." "I know," Emma said, staring into the coffee, "but I don't know what to do. Go back and face them? Pretend I'm not humiliated every time I walk out the door? You deserve answers," Lily said firmly. "Answers, closure, whatever it takes to get your life back." Emma nodded slowly, though the thought of confronting James and Lauren again made her chest tighten. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 12:15 p.m. Beacon Hill Cafe, Boston. Emma sat at a corner table with her laptop open, scrolling through comments on the viral video. The cruel words cut deep. The wife had to know something was up. Men don't cheat out of nowhere. Wow, her own mother? That's some twisted betrayal. James Prescott is living the ultimate soap opera life. Lucky bastard. She slammed the laptop shut, her appetite vanishing. Her phone buzzed, and she glanced at the screen. A new message from an unknown number. Unknown number. "If you want the truth, meet me at the park. 2 p.m. Come alone." Emma's pulse quickened. She stared at the message, her mind racing. Was it a trap? A cruel prank? Or someone who actually knew something about James and Lauren's relationship? Against her better judgment, she typed a response. "Who is this?" The reply came almost immediately. "You'll find out." Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 2 p.m. Park Square, Boston. The park was quieter than usual, the overcast sky casting long shadows across the paths. Emma sat on a bench, her eyes scanning the area for any sign of her mysterious contact. She didn't have to wait long. A woman approached, a striking brunette in her early 40s, dressed in a tailored coat and heels that clicked sharply against the pavement. She stopped a few feet away, her expression unreadable. "Emma Prescott?" she asked. Emma nodded, standing cautiously. "Who are you?" The woman extended a hand. Olivia Carrington. I think we need to talk. About what? Emma asked, though she already had a sinking feeling she knew the answer. Olivia smirked faintly. About James. And Lauren. And the lies they've been feeding you. Emma's chest tightened. What do you mean? Olivia gestured to the bench. Let's sit. This might take a while. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 2:15 p.m. Park Square, Boston. I'm a private investigator, Olivia began, crossing her legs elegantly. Hired by your neighbor, Harriet Woods. She suspected something strange was going on with Lauren and James, and, well, she wasn't wrong. Emma blinked, struggling to process the words. Harriet hired you? Why? Your mother, Olivia said bluntly. She's, let's say, well practiced at integrating herself into the lives of younger men. Harriet suspected she had her sights set on James. The words felt like a punch to the gut. Emma's hands clenched into fists. So you were spying on my family? I was doing my job, Olivia said evenly. And I found something you deserve to know. She reached into her coat and pulled out a folder, handing it to Emma. Photos, text messages, hotel receipts. It's all there. Emma's hands shook as she opened the folder. The first photo was enough to make her stomach churn. James and Lauren entering a boutique hotel downtown, their hands brushing as they walked inside. Why are you showing me this? Emma whispered, her voice barely audible. Because you need to know the truth, Olivia said. James and Lauren have been seeing each other for months. This isn't some one-off mistake. It's deliberate, calculated. Emma stared at the evidence, her mind racing. The hotel receipts were dated months ago, long before Lauren had moved in. Text messages between James and Lauren revealed a sickening intimacy, with phrases like, can't wait to see you tonight, and she'll never find out. Her vision blurred with tears. Why are you helping me? Olivia's gaze softened. Because no one deserves this. And because Harriet insisted I make sure you knew everything before the scandal blew up even more. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 4 p.m. Lily's apartment, Chestnut Street, Boston. Emma sat at the kitchen table, staring at the folder in front of her. Lily paced behind her, glancing over her shoulder at the damning evidence. This is insane, Lily said, shaking her head. Your mother's been seducing him for months? While living in your house? Emma didn't respond. She couldn't. What are you going to do? Lily pressed. Emma took a deep breath, wiping her tears away. I'm going to confront them. Both of them. Tonight. Lily stopped pacing, her expression cautious. Are you sure that's a good idea? No, Emma admitted, standing. But I can't hide from this anymore. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 7:30 p.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. When Emma pushed open the front door, the house was quiet. Too quiet. She made her way to the living room, where Lauren sat sipping a glass of wine as if nothing had happened. James stood by the window, his hands in his pockets, avoiding her gaze. Emma, Lauren said, her voice light and disarming. You're home. Emma held up the folder, her hands steady despite the storm brewing inside her. Care to explain this? Lauren's smile faltered, and James's head snapped toward her, his eyes widening. What is that? He asked. Proof, Emma said coldly. Proof that you've both been lying to me. For months. The color drained from James's face, and Lauren set her wineglass down with a faint clink. I think we should all sit down, Lauren began, her tone calm. Don't, Emma snapped, her voice rising. Don't treat me like I'm some child you can manipulate. Not anymore. Lauren's mask of composure slipped, her eyes narrowing. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, Emma said, stepping closer. I understand that you're a liar. And a cheat. And so are you, she said, turning to James. James opened his mouth, but no words came out. Emma's voice dropped to a deadly calm. So here's what's going to happen. You're both going to pack your things and get out of my house. Tonight. Neither of them moved. Now, Emma snapped, her voice sharp as a knife. The battle lines had been drawn. And Emma wasn't backing down. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 7:40 p.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. The air in the living room was heavy with tension, the kind that made it hard to breathe. Emma stood in the center, the incriminating folder clutched in her hand, her glare darting between Lauren and James. "I said pack your things," Emma repeated, her voice ice cold. James took a step forward, his hands raised defensively. "Emma, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" she snapped, cutting him off. "That you've been sneaking around with my mother? That you've been lying to me for months? There's nothing you can say to make this better." Lauren sighed dramatically, setting her wine glass down with a faint clink. "Sweetheart, don't be so theatrical. You're blowing this out of proportion." Emma turned to her mother, her voice trembling with anger. "Don't you dare tell me how to feel. You moved into my house, pretended to be family, and then stabbed me in the back." Lauren's calm facade cracked for a moment, her eyes narrowing. "You don't understand the full story." "Oh, I understand perfectly," Emma shot back. She threw the folder onto the coffee table, scattering its contents. The photos and text message transcripts spilled out like damning evidence in a courtroom. James's face went pale as he stared at the papers. Where did you get these?" "Does it matter?" Emma said. Lauren glanced at the documents, her jaw tightening. "You've been snooping." Emma laughed bitterly. "You're unbelievable. I'm not the one who destroyed this family. That's on you." Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 8:10 p.m. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence stretched thin, like a rope about to snap. James finally broke it, his voice shaky. "Emma, I never wanted this to happen. I got caught up in something I didn't know how to stop." "Caught up?" Emma repeated, her voice rising. "You're acting like this was an accident, like you tripped and fell into bed with my mother." "It wasn't like that," James insisted. It started as a mistake, and then what?" Emma demanded. "You decided to double down? To sneak around behind my back, thinking I'd never find out?" Lauren stepped in, her tone clipped. "Enough, both of you. This isn't helping anyone." "No, you don't get to play peacemaker," Emma snapped, turning to her mother. "Not after what you've done. Do you even care about anyone but yourself?" Lauren's eyes flashed with anger. "You're acting like this is all my fault, but maybe you should take a hard look at your marriage. If things had been solid between you and James, do you think he would have turned to me?" Emma stared at her, stunned. "You're blaming me?" "I'm saying there's more to this than you're willing to admit," Lauren said, her voice growing sharper. Emma's hands clenched into fists. "Get out, both of you. I mean it." Lauren crossed her arms, her calm demeanor slipping into something colder. "And if I don't? Then I'll make sure everyone knows the truth," Emma said, her voice trembling with fury. "I'll send those photos and messages to every person we know. You'll be the ones humiliated for once." Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 9 p.m. The ultimatum had its desired effect. Within the hour, James was packing a suitcase in the bedroom while Lauren gathered her things downstairs. Emma stood in the doorway of the bedroom, watching as James stuffed clothes haphazardly into a bag. "You think this is easy for me?" he said, glancing at her. "Easy?" Emma repeated, her voice dripping with disbelief. "You think I care if it's hard for you? You made this mess, James." He sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. "I know I screwed up, okay? But I never wanted to hurt you." "Well, congratulations," Emma said bitterly. "You did anyway." James buried his face in his hands. For a fleeting moment, Emma almost felt a pang of sympathy. But then she remembered the texts, the photos, the video of him and Lauren sneaking into the neighbor's house. Whatever love she'd once felt for him was buried beneath layers of betrayal and anger. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 9:30 p.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. Lauren was waiting in the foyer, her designer suitcase by her side, when James came down the stairs. Emma stood behind him, her arms crossed, watching silently as they avoided each other's gaze. Lauren turned to Emma, her expression unreadable. "This doesn't have to be the end for us, you know? You're still my daughter." Emma's laugh was bitter and hollow. "Not anymore. A real mother wouldn't do what you did." For a moment, Lauren looked almost wounded. But the flicker of emotion disappeared as quickly as it had come. "Goodbye, Emma," she said, her tone cool and distant. James hesitated at the door, turning back to look at her. "Emma, I don't," she said sharply. "Just go." He nodded, his shoulders slumping as he followed Lauren out the door. Thursday, June 14th, 2018. 10 p.m. Emma sank onto the couch, the house eerily quiet now that it was empty. The folder still sat on the coffee table, its contents spilling out like the remnants of a bomb that had just detonated. Her phone buzzed beside her. She picked it up, expecting another message from James or Lauren. But it was from the unknown number. "Unknown number. This isn't over. There's more you need to know." Emma's stomach dropped. She stared at the screen, her heart pounding. "More?" Before she could respond, another message came through. "Unknown number. Check the basement." Thursday, June 14th, 2018. 10:15 p.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. Emma's hands trembled as she made her way down the basement stairs. The air was damp and cold, the faint hum of the water heater the only sound. She reached the bottom and turned on the light, her eyes scanning the space. At first, everything seemed normal. Boxes of old holiday decorations, storage bins filled with childhood mementos. But then she noticed something strange, a small, locked trunk in the corner that she didn't recognize. She crouched down, her heart racing, and examined it. The lock looked old but sturdy. Her phone buzzed again. "Unknown number. The key is taped under the coffee table." Emma's pulse quickened as she raced back upstairs to retrieve the key. Within moments, she was back in the basement, her hands trembling as she unlocked the trunk. When the lid creaked open, her breath caught in her throat. Inside were more photos, more documents, evidence of something far darker than an affair. Lauren and James's betrayal was just the beginning. And whatever this was, it was worse, much worse. Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 10:30 p.m. The Prescott residence, basement, Beacon Hill, Boston. Emma's fingers trembled as she sifted through the contents of the trunk. Photographs, receipts, and handwritten notes lay in chaotic stacks, each piece more damning than the last. Her eyes locked onto a photograph at the very top. It showed Lauren standing outside a luxury hotel, her arm wrapped around the shoulder of a man Emma didn't recognize. The timestamp read February 12, 2018, 4 months before Lauren moved into Emma and James's home. Beneath the photo was a ledger, its pages filled with columns of names, dates, and amounts. Emma's stomach churned as she realized what it was. A record of payments. She flipped through the pages, her horror deepening with each entry. Names she didn't recognize were listed alongside 5- and 6-figure sums. Her mother's name appeared multiple times, with increasing payouts. "What the hell is this?" Emma whispered, her voice barely audible in the cold basement. The notes scattered throughout the trunk offered more clues. One slip of paper had an address scribbled on it, an address she recognized as belonging to one of Boston's wealthiest families. Another listed a bank account number alongside Lauren's name. Her heart raced as she uncovered another stack of photos, this time featuring James. In some, he was with Lauren, their intimacy unmistakable. But others showed him in places Emma didn't recognize, meeting with unfamiliar men, exchanging envelopes, always looking over his shoulder. Her phone buzzed, snapping her out of her daze. "Unknown number. You see now?" It wasn't just an affair. Emma stared at the message, her pulse pounding. "Emma, who are you? What is all of this?" The reply came almost instantly. "Unknown number. The truth. And you're just scratching the surface." Thursday, June 14th, 2018, 11 p.m. Lily's apartment, Chestnut Street, Boston. Emma burst through the door, the folder clutched tightly in her arms. Lily looked up from the couch, startled by her friend's frantic entrance. "What happened?" Lily asked, standing. Emma dumped the contents of the trunk onto the coffee table. This is what happened. Lily's eyes widened as she picked up the ledger. What is all this? I don't know, Emma said, pacing the room. But it's bad. Really bad. My mom wasn't just sleeping with James. She was working with him. And whatever they were doing, it wasn't legal. Lily flipped through the ledger, her brow furrowing. These payments, they're huge. And they're coming from people all over the city. Exactly, Emma said, her voice trembling. And look at this. She held up one of the photos of Lauren with the man outside the hotel. This was months before she moved in with us. She's been planning this for a long time. Lily frowned. Planning what? I don't know, Emma admitted, sinking onto the couch. But I'm going to find out. Friday, June 15th, 2018, 8 a.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. Emma returned to the house early the next morning, the folder and trunk safely locked in her car. She didn't know what she was looking for, but she had a feeling there was more to uncover. As she searched the house, her mind raced with questions. What were Lauren and James involved in? Were they blackmailing people? Laundering money? And who was the mysterious person texting her? In the master bedroom, she found another clue. An envelope hidden in the back of James's closet. Inside was a key card for a luxury hotel downtown. The same hotel from the photo of Lauren and the unidentified man. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You're getting closer. Meet me tonight. 9 p.m. Same park. Emma's stomach twisted. Emma, I want answers. All of them. Unknown number. You'll get them. But only if you're ready to face the truth. Friday, June 15th, 2018, 9 p.m. Park Square, Boston. The park was nearly deserted when Emma arrived. The streetlights cast long shadows across the paths, and the air carried a chill that didn't match the summer season. She spotted Olivia Carrington sitting on a bench, her tailored coat buttoned tightly against the breeze. You again, Emma said, approaching cautiously. Olivia smiled faintly. Didn't I say we'd be seeing more of each other? Emma crossed her arms. Start talking. Olivia gestured to the empty space beside her. Sit. Emma hesitated, then sat. Her eyes locked on Olivia. What do you know about this? About Lauren and James? More than you realize, Olivia said. Your mother isn't just charismatic. She's a con artist. And she's been pulling James into her schemes for months. Emma's breath caught. Schemes? What kind of schemes? Blackmail, Olivia said bluntly. Extortion. She finds wealthy marks, seduces them, and then traps them. James was her latest pawn, but she's been doing this for years. Emma's head spun. Years? But Olivia cut her off. The man in that photo? He's a state senator. Married. Your mother's been bleeding him dry for months. Emma's stomach churned. And James? He was supposed to be her partner, Olivia said. But from what I've gathered, he started to get cold feet. He wanted out. That's when things got messy. Emma's mind raced as she processed the information. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know what you're up against, Olivia said. And because your mother's mess has a way of spreading. If you're not careful, it'll ruin you too. Friday, June 15th, 2018, 11 p.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. Emma returned home, her thoughts swirling. Olivia's words replayed in her mind, filling her with a mixture of anger and dread. Lauren wasn't just a bad mother. She was dangerous. As Emma climbed the stairs to her bedroom, she noticed something strange, the faint sound of a phone ringing. She followed the noise to the guest room, Lauren's room. Her mother had left in such a hurry that she hadn't taken everything with her. Emma spotted the phone on the nightstand, its screen glowing with an incoming call from an unknown number. She hesitated for a moment, then answered. A man's voice came through the line, low and cold. Lauren, we have a problem. Emma's blood ran cold. This isn't Lauren. There was a long pause. Then, the man said, Who the hell is this? Emma's grip tightened on the phone. Her daughter. And if you think you can intimidate me, you're dead wrong. The man laughed, a sound that sent chills down her spine. Oh, Emma. You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. The line went dead, leaving Emma standing in the dark, her heart pounding. Lauren and James's betrayal had been bad enough. But now, Emma realized, she was facing something much bigger and much more dangerous. Saturday, June 16, 2018, 12:05 a.m. The Prescott residence, Beacon Hill, Boston. Emma stood in the dimly lit guest room, her mother's discarded phone still clutched in her trembling hand. The man's chilling voice echoed in her ears. You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. She glanced down at the phone. The screen had gone dark, but her thoughts churned like a storm. Whoever that man was, he wasn't just another of Lauren's victims. He was something else, something far worse. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, snapping her back to reality. Unknown number. They know who you are now. You're in danger. Meet me. Now. Emma stared at the message, her heart pounding. She didn't know if she could trust this mysterious informant, but what choice did she have? Whoever was on the other end of that call wasn't bluffing. She grabbed the folder of evidence and left the house without looking back. Saturday, June 16, 2018, 12:40 a.m. Underground parking garage, downtown Boston. The meeting location was as ominous as it was nondescript. A near-empty parking garage beneath a high-rise building. Emma's footsteps echoed as she made her way to the designated spot, the envelope clutched tightly against her chest. A figure emerged from the shadows. Olivia Carrington. You're late, Olivia said, her voice sharp but not unkind. Emma exhaled in relief, though her nerves were still on edge. I had to make sure I wasn't being followed. Olivia nodded. Smart. Things are escalating faster than I anticipated. What the hell is going on? Emma demanded. Who was that man on Lauren's phone? What is she involved in? Olivia motioned for Emma to follow her, leading her to a secluded corner of the garage. It's worse than I thought. Lauren's usual targets were wealthy men who would pay to keep their secrets quiet. But recently, she's been working with people who don't care about money, they care about leverage. Leverage for what? Emma asked, her stomach churning. Olivia hesitated, then said, political blackmail. Extortion. Your mother and her partners have been collecting dirt on powerful people, senators, judges, CEOs. James was supposed to help launder the money, but he panicked and started keeping records. That ledger you found? It's a death sentence if the wrong people see it. Emma's breath caught. Death sentence? Are you saying they'll do whatever it takes to protect themselves? Olivia interrupted. Your mother's reckless behavior has put you in their crosshairs. And now that they know you have the evidence, Emma's grip on the envelope tightened. What do I do? You need to make a choice, Olivia said, her tone grave. We can take this to the FBI and blow everything wide open. Or you can disappear, leave this city, start over somewhere far away. Emma stared at Olivia, her mind racing. The idea of running felt like surrender, but exposing the truth would mean facing enemies who wouldn't hesitate to destroy her. I'm not leaving, Emma said finally, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her. If I run, they win. Olivia studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right, but if you're staying, we need to act fast. Saturday, June 16, 2018, 3 a.m. Federal Building, Boston. Emma's heart pounded as she sat in a stark conference room, the evidence laid out on the table before her. A pair of agents listened intently as she recounted everything. Lauren's schemes, James's involvement, the mysterious phone call, and the dangerous men now after her. One of the agents, a no-nonsense woman named Agent Harris, flipped through the ledger. This is explosive, she said, her tone measured. If what you're saying is true, your mother is part of one of the largest blackmail operations we've ever seen. It's true, Emma said, her voice firm. And they're not going to stop until they silence everyone involved. Harris nodded, exchanging a glance with her partner. We'll open a full investigation. But you need to understand, this won't be quick or clean. These people have resources and connections. We'll do everything we can to protect you, but there are no guarantees. Emma swallowed hard, the weight of her decision settling over her. I understand. Saturday, June 16, 2018, 6:15 a.m. Safe House, Boston suburbs. Emma stared out the window of the safe house, the early morning light casting a pale glow over the quiet street. The FBI had moved her there just hours ago, promising round-the-clock surveillance and protection. But even with the agents stationed outside, she couldn't shake the feeling that danger was closing in. Her phone buzzed on the table, and she picked it up cautiously. A message from an unknown number lit up the screen. Unknown number. You think you're safe? This isn't over. Her hands trembled as she set the phone down, her resolve hardening. She wasn't safe. Not yet. But for the first time, she felt something stronger than fear. She felt determination. They had tried to destroy her family, her life, her trust. But Emma wasn't just a victim anymore. She was a fighter. And she wasn't going down without a fight. The story of Lauren, James, and the dark world they were entangled in was far from over. But as Emma sat in the safe house, preparing for the battles ahead, one thing was certain. The truth would come out. And when it did, no one would escape unscathed.